Coming to the next topic is the water movement up a plant. Means within a plant, how the water molecules are transported. See, we know whatever the plants are there, okay, within that plants there is a water transport and there is a food transport. Water transport and the minerals, water and the minerals which are transported by the xylem. The food transport is done by the fluid. The food transport is done by the fluid. See, we are discussing about here ascent of sap. Ascent of sap. That is nothing but upward movement of water. Upward movement of water. So in a plant, how the water molecules are transported? This is the plant. This is the root. The roots are absorbs water, right? And after that roots water absorption process through the xylem. This is the xylem. Through the xylem, the water molecules are transported against the gravitational force. Against the gravitational force. Again, the water molecules are reaches the tip parts of the shoot. That is nothing but leaves. The water molecules are reaches the leaves. Finally, the plant loses the water in the form of water vapor. This one is called as transpiration. So the concept is here: transportation of water molecules against the gravitational force. Transportation of water molecules against the gravitational force up to tip parts of the shoot. Up to the shoot tips. Okay, that transportation is called as ascent of sap. Ascent of sap is nothing but against the gravity, the water molecules are transported in a plant. That is called as ascent of sap. Right? See, this especially this transportation, majorly proven by one of the experiment. That experiment is called as Gridling experiment. That experiment is called as Gridling experiment. That Gridling experiment done by the Malfisi. The Gridling experiment done by the Malfisi. Right? See, this is a test tube. Okay. Within the test tube, one of the plant part, one of the pig is kept. Right? See, before the pig part kept inside the test tube, right? Whatever that epidermis is present, the epidermis is removed. The cortex is present, the cortex is removed, right? And whatever that pericycle part is present, the pericycle part is removed, right? Endodermis is removed, pericycle is removed. Okay, all the parts are removed. Here only two parts are there. One is the xylem part, another is the phloem part. Remember, the phloem part is also blocked. Here the phloem part is also blocked by the usage of long wires. Okay, the long wires are penetrated into the phloem part. Right? So once the phloem is blocked, there is no food transportation. Xylem is there. Okay, we have not destructed the xylem part. Right? See, that particular part kept inside kept in a test tube. The test tube contains the water. After few hours, if we observe the leaves are fresh here. Because the leaves involved in the transpiration process. So here the leaves involved in the transpiration process. Because xylem involved in the transportation of water. Right? So that is about the first part of the experiment. Coming to the next one, second part of the experiment. Here, this is one of the plant big part. Here xylem is removed. Or xylem is blocked by the long wires. By the uses of long wires, completely xylem is blocked. So after few hours, if we observe the leaves here, the leaves are wilted. Right? See, the leaves are wilted means Based on that, we can conclude if xylem is active, leaves are active. If xylem is blocked, leaves are lifted. So based on this, we can say xylem is responsible for the transportation of water. Xylem is responsible for the transportation of water. See, this experiment is called as Gridling experiment proved by the Malfisi. The scientist name is the Malfisi. Right. See, before discussing about the next one, we know about there is an very long plants are there and tall plants. These are nothing but tall plants which exhibit the secondary growth. The water molecules are transported up to several meters. In some plants may mostly maybe grown 400 meters. Right? Some are grown very tall. Even that plants also the water molecules are transported. Right? So within that secondary growth exhibited plants, how the water is transported. This is one of the best example. We studied in the first year regarding to the secondary growth I am talking. Within the secondary growth of the plant, at the center of the plant, okay, there is a heartwood is present. Okay, that is the dark color wood, that is the dead one, highly deposited one. The heartwood not involved in the transportation of any molecules because the cells are highly deposited cells. And besides to that one, there is a sapwood is there. The sapwood is responsible. The sapwood is responsible for the transportation of water. The sapwood is responsible for the transportation of water. Right? So ascent of sap in that case, means against to the gravity, the water molecules are transported. Whatever that secondary growth exhibited plants are there, mostly the transportation is done by the sapwood only. Right? The water molecules we are talking. And coming to the ascent of sap here, the ascent of sap can be divided into two parts. One is the root pressure, other one is the transpiration pull. Okay, see, this is the plant. Let me draw another one. This is the plant, and this is the root part. Right? See, the roots absorbs the water. This is positive hydrostatic pressure. And the water is transported against to the gravitational force. This is negative hydrostatic pressure. So ascent of sap is majorly done by the two parts. One is the root pressure, other one is the transpirational pull theory. Transpiration pull theory. This one is also called cohesion tension transpiration pull theory. This is also called cohesion tension transpiration pull theory. So these two means this bit, this particular bit involving the root pressure means absorption of water from the soil is done by the root pressure, that is positive hydrostatic pressure. The water molecules are transported from root to shoot tips, that is done by the negative hydrostatic pressure. So this bit is nothing but transpirational pull theory, and this bit exactly root pressure theory. So this bit is root pressure, this bit is done by the transpirational pull. So first we discussed about that root pressure proposed by the Stocking. Root pressure is proposed by the Stocking. Name given by the Stephen Hales. Observed by the Priestley. See, three different scientist names. Proposed by the Stocking, right? Name given by the Stephen Hales. Observed by the Priestley, right? And this is a positive hydrostatic pressure. Developed within the roots due to active uptake of minerals. We know once the minerals are entering to the inside the root cells, so here water potential is decreased. Within the soil, more water potential is present. Then water is transporting from soil to the inside the root cells. So high water potential to low water potential. The water molecules are transported. Right? That is about that the root pressure. Okay, root pressure theory, and these are also called pushing forces. The forces which are generated by the minerals. The forces which are generated by the minerals. So this one is also called pushing force. Right? Again, the root pressure, especially supporting for the root pressure here, identified by the two concepts are there. One is called as bleeding. One is called as bleeding. This is nothing but exudation. This is nothing but the exudation. This is one of the plant. This is one of the plant shoot pot. Right? This is the root pot. If we cut the stem, right, from the stem, after the cutting process, from the stem, some of the fluid-like substance is released. Fluid-like substance is released. That is nothing but bleeding. That is nothing but bleeding. One of the plant is there. The plant shoot pot is cut. Remaining stem part is connected with the roots. The roots are connected with the soil. After the cutting process, the particular stem, releases one kind of watery substance. That is nothing but water and minerals. Right? So that particular process is called as bleeding. If we cut our body part, blood is bleeding. So if we cut the shoot part, the water and minerals are bleeding. That is nothing but bleeding. This one is also called exudation. The process of oozing of sap. Oozing is nothing but the sap is released. Sap is nothing but here water and minerals are released. So this process is called as bleeding or exudation. And next is the guttation. The process of loss of water in the form of liquid state. Remember, generally plants loses the water in the form of water vapor. But in the guttation process, whatever that leaves are there, this is one of the plant. Monocots especially, or herbaceous plants. The best example is the herbaceous plants. The tip pods are there. The tip pods are loses the water in the form of liquid state. This is the tip pod of the leaf. The tip pod loses the water in the form of liquid state. So here that loss of water molecules in the form of liquid state done by the special cells. The cells are called as hydatodes. The best explanation is here. This is one of the tip pod. The tip pod having special cells. These cells are called as hydatodes. The special cells are called as hydatodes. Presence of hydatodes. The plants are losses water in the form of liquid state. The process is called as guttation. Guttation, is seen in herbaceous plants, means small grasses, the guttation process is mostly seen in the herbaceous plants. Root pressure is more during night and the early morning, especially early morning. During night time and the early morning, the root pressure is increased. The main concept of root pressure is during the night time, there is no transpiration. If the transpiration takes place, along with the water molecules, minerals are transported. But during the night time, there is no transpiration. But some plants during night time also, minerals are required. So for to supply the minerals, to the transportation of minerals, some plants loses the water in the form of water, liquid. That is nothing but in the form of liquid state. Right? See, the process is called as guttation. Guttation main theme is here transportation of minerals. Right? Mostly the guttation is seen in herbaceous plants. Right? That is about that the introduction for the ascent of sap, and again we will discuss about that some points regarding to that root pressure and major points are related to the transpiration full theory.